So good morning, and let's welcome to Shakti Flow, taking your comfortable seat, closing your eyes. We'll take a moment to settle, to connect, and to set intention. So begin by feeling and sensing the weight of the body, the bones and the muscles and the density that we call this body. And then as you bring your awareness a little deeper to the breath, notice the breath as it moves in through the body. So we have this awareness of the external part of us, if you will, and now we have an awareness of the internal part. And they work together in unison, in symmetry, in coordination. And then finally bring your awareness to the state of your mind, allowing the practice of coming together, sitting quietly, to remind us that we need a calm, focused mind. So as we leave August and this idea of summertime, and we move towards September and this idea of fall, we are in the middle of 2 seasons, 2 months, in what we might call transition time. And as always, our transition times can be our vulnerable times. And so in today's practice, I want to bring your awareness up into the transitions from action to action, movement to movement, breath to breath, so that we don't become vulnerable. Same is true when we transition in seasons, or even from sleeping to waking or waking to sleeping. We stay mindful and aware. So allow the hands to come up to your heart center, holding any of that intention if it resonates, aligns with you, and anything else that you might need this morning. You can actually say it to yourself in your own mind, and your body and cells will hear you. And then take another deep breath. And as you exhale, you can release your hands, slowly open the eyes, and come on back. All right, so we're going to start on the floor this morning, do a little, this is one of those flossing moves, and it's also one of those moves where we're going to need these muscle groups later. All right, so you're going to sit on the floor, take all my paraphernalia with me. All right. And I want you to come into what we call, the zigzag move. Sorry for my baggy pants. I grabbed the wrong pants when I got up this morning.
I like them.
You remember this move, the zigzag move? You can do this a couple of times just to see what your body feels like. If you haven't moved around a lot in this way, you're going to feel kind of tight. Don't force it, and if it feels really vulnerable, bring your legs closer together. If you can do it with your feet wider apart, so you've got more internal and external rotation, do that. And then once you feel comfortable, I want you to just allow yourself, go to your right hip and let your legs drift over down onto the floor. This right foot is naturally close to the left. I want you to move it a little bit away from you. So it's, if I turn to face you, can't see my leg. It's not tucked into me. It's more away from my body. Okay. And then I want to take my hands down in front of my leg. So I've got one hand kind of in front of my ankle and the other hand to help balance me. This back leg can do what it wants. The further out it goes, the more juice you're gonna get out of it. The closer in it is, a little bit more comfortable. And we're gonna move down over this front leg and back up. That's all we're doing right now. And I want you to keep this front foot flexed so that you've got some organization, I'll call it, around the knee. So this is all we're doing is flossing, right? But I'm going to add another piece to this. You can try, if you like, to take your hands away. I'm going to put them in my back body, and I'm just going to do the same action. And if you're able to do that, I want you to push into the back of your leg as if you're trying to push your leg into the floor, especially when you go up.
Mm-hmm.
And you might feel and sense that outer band of the leg and the hip into the buttocks working. And this is what I'm after. Good. Other side. I want you to take this back leg up and around and then switch. So you're on the other leg, you're on the other hip. Remember, this back leg can do whatever you want. I'm going to open mine just a little bit more. And I can feel how, look at how I'm falling over. See, this is tightness. I don't have the freedom to sit up. So I'm going to hold myself here first with my fingers. This back leg might need to adjust so that I can sit more upright. And then I want to focus on the front leg going down and up, using your fingers to help balance you and keep your torso going straight up over this shape. Some people might be closer to the shin. Some people might be closer to the thigh. It doesn't really matter. Just, can you feel this? And then you might start to even push into the leg as you want to come up. Think about that. Push down and then let that move you up. And maybe then you can take your arms away. So you're going down nice and slow, hinging. So if I can remind you, this is a hinge. I'm not moving my spine. I'm not moving my legs around. I'm only hinging from my hip. On this, I'm on my right. You might be on your left.
Mm-hmm.
So just an easy movement up and down. And do you have one side a little harder than the other?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead and release it. Okay, bring this back leg up and around so that you don't tweak that back leg, and then come to tabletop. And I want your fingers spread. You know what to do. Toes are turned under. Let's do a couple of cat-cows here just to get ourselves moving through the spine now. Dropping tailbone, pressing through the tops of the feet, pressing through the hands for cat, and then reverse it for cow. And when I do cat and cow, I like to move my body a little bit backwards and forwards to just squeeze out a little bit more range around the whole spine. And then do one more full round, cat and cow, and then find a middle ground. Toes are tucked under a little bit. You feel balance between all four limbs. And take your right leg back behind you and just bend your knee. So you're in a flexed position, bottoms of the foot reaching to the ceiling. And then take your opposite arm forward. See if you can turn your palm to the ceiling. So it feels weird. We're not used to this kind of action. Take one more breath and then exhale, lower down. Left leg goes back straight and then bend the knee. And then take the right arm forward, palm up. And I want you to think about the bottom of the foot and the palm moving towards the ceiling, but don't go so far to make it into cow pose. And then exhale, come down. Good. And then walk your hands one hand distance forward. Keep your toes turned under. We're going to move back towards the heels. As you drop your elbows to the floor, can you line them up with your hands? When you get back here, take a moment to feel that stretch through your upper back, maybe even in the lower back. And then as you inhale, peel yourself up and come forward so that you're actually weighted on your hands. Do it again, back, elbows on the mat. And now we're transitioning, right? So we went from seated to tabletop, not a hard transition. But you could even pay attention to the transition from this little flow forward and back. Are you staying connected to the breath as you exhale, belly button or navel to spine, moving back, inhale, stay organized in your core. One more time here. So we're warming up the shoulders a bit, warming up the arms and the hands, and come forward. Now, if you have freedom in your hands and wrists, we're going to just go to plank pose. If not, I want you to come down onto your forearms and do plank pose. So lifting yourself up off the mat. And then from here, we're going to rock back and forth. So if you're on your forearms, it's going to be very similar to what you just did. Bend the knees and move back to downward facing dog. So if you were on your forearms, you're just going to do exactly what we did before. You come forward, you come up into your plank, and then you drop your knees and you go back. If you're on your hands, you're going to go back and forth a couple of times from dog pose to plank. And then wherever you are, I want you to stay back in downward facing dog. It can be on your forearms, it can be on your hands. And I want you to pay attention to how your spine feels. Does it feel long and extended, or does it feel a little bit glitchy? Remember, bent knees helps you with long spine. Good. And then slowly come back down onto your knees. Now, a little fun activity to do. I want you to grab your blocks. And a long time ago, Susie was nice enough to send me a present of these nice, heavy cork blocks. But if you happen to have the foam ones, it'll be a little bit nicer for you. I'm going to ask you to put it between your upper thighs. And you kind of have to work it in there a little bit. And then you're going to come back to table. And you're going to keep the block there. I want you to have that awareness. And we'll go back to cat and cow. Okay, so squeezing block, toes turned under, lift tailbone, lift eyes, lift heart, and then flip your feet, tailbone, head down for cat pose. And you're just flexing your spine, but now you have this awareness of what is your legs doing. Let's do one more round. And then find a place in the middle, so you're not in cat or cow, you're very neutral. Walk your hands forward, we did this already. So you're gonna move back and drop your elbows. Now, if you're like me and you got a little bit too, block is a little too forward, I just adjusted it so that I could move back a little. I want you to stay in this backward position, elbows and hands rooted to the mat as you move back, and then squeeze the block at the same time. You'll be surprised at how easy it is to let go of it. And then on your inhale, fold forward, lifting up your elbows, keep your hands on the floor. See if you can go to downward facing dog with the block. So as you're here with the block, you're not going to pedal your feet. You're just going to be with downward facing dog again, like you were already. And then you're going to go to plank pose. Blocks engaged. Now, you don't need to stay in plank pose forever, but I do want you to pay attention to the legs, the core, and all that's working together. Now go back to downward facing dog. And then from there, can you walk your hands backwards so that you end up in a forward fold with your block? Bending knees is totally fine. In fact, I prefer it. Feet should be underneath your sitting bones so that you don't have to turn your knees in. You might even want to look to make sure you're not doing that. And then drop your hips down like you're sitting in a chair and come up on your forearms. Shifting your weight back a little bit, squeezing block. And then keep your legs as they are and come up on your hands, pushing yourself upright more. Core body's engaged, hands to heart. And we're just posing pausing here, not posing, pausing in chair pose, really being clear with what we're doing. On your next inhale, elbows wide, hands face forward, like you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. That keeps your back body active. And then as you stand, push and lift your arms up over your head. Hands come up and over, palms together. Pause here. Now you still have the block, so let your arms release down into that Tadasana. And then we're going to play with balance here. So squeeze the block and come off your heels. See if you can stay on the balls of your feet. Bring your arms up over your head in Tadasana or Hastasana. Reach your arms up high, high, high. Be good if you could see my head. And just see where you can be with this balance. Where can you be with this balance? The more you move your arms, the more challenging it becomes. Let your arms come down, slow and careful. And then let your heels touch the floor, reach back and sit into chair, arms are forward. So we're gonna do that in one little flow here. So stand, arms up, heels up. Heels down, arms down, chair. And I'm going slow so you can balance. You don't want to go super fast and create momentum. Whoop. And lower heels, lower arms, and chair. Good. Stay here in chair. Bring your hands back to your heart. Lift your toes a little bit so you know you're in your legs. Drop your hips wherever you can. And from here, pull the shoulder blades back. It feels a little bit like cactus, but it's a little awkward. It's a little bit more like elbows are back. And then see, can you bring your arms up at all? So you might stop here. You might go all the way up. As you inhale, come all the way to standing, and then exhale, pause. You can take the block away. We're going to use them again in a little while. But for right now, just stop. Pay attention. What's happening in your body. You can hear my breathing is a little challenged. Susie asked me earlier if my breathing was challenged, if I go out and do anything, and I'm like, yeah, it's still challenged. So we're gonna work a little upper arm series. I want you to use your lightest weight, whatever that is for you. I gave my threes away to my daughter, dumb mommy that I am. So I'm using these 2-pound weights again. Truly, truly do not go past a 3-pound for this little series. I want you to take one step. So normally when we do any kind of standing work, we stand equally, one foot in front of the other. I mean, side to side. Now I want you to step with a staggered stance. So both feet are on the floor, but you've just got one foot a little bit more forward than the other. Then pay attention to your core. And then we're going to take the pinky side of the hands to touch right in front of your body. We've done these before. So I want you to drop your tailbone, engage your core, and then go up and over your head to touch the thumb side. And then go back down around. So you're going to keep your arms just in front of your shoulder area. You're not working completely laterally. You're out in front of your body. Soft knees. And inhale. And exhale. So we're playing with shoulders, range of motion, rotator cuff muscles primarily, and then add the big deltoid muscle. Up and over. So you're just checking yourself out. This is not hard, but I want you to use this awareness of transition. Like now we're in a whole different thing. What are we doing? All right, now I want you to come halfway up and stay there. Soft elbows. You're going to turn the palms down and up. So Susie, be careful of this one with your elbow. And you're just trying to hold your shoulders on the back part of your body. You will move them slightly. And in and back. Soft knees, soft stance. All right, now hold your arms open and touch forward, pinky side and open. Oh, now I feel my shoulders. I worked my shoulders yesterday and I was like, oh, they're not very sore. Oh yeah, they are. And 3. So we're on purpose putting a lot of tension into the shoulders with a lighter weight. You could call this a warm-up. You could call this fatigue, depending on how you're feeling. One more time. Remember not to go without eating protein. Now hold your arms out here. Pull your hands to your shoulders and open them back up. Pull and open. And after a while, you're starting to say, you know what? This weight's getting kind of heavy. Soft knees. I'm going to say that because you can really lock your legs up when you're doing your upper body. You forget. In. One more time. We're almost there. In. And now hold in cactus and close them. Now keep here. Weights are touching each other. You're going to go up over your head. Drop the weight behind you. Push it up. And then come to the cactus shape. Open your arms once. Close. Up. Bend. Up. Down. And cactus. So this is our last piece here. Try to stay with me. And up. And open. So putting a lot of focus on the deltoid upper arm area. And open. Are your arms getting tired at all? Up. Or could you just do this all day? And open. Let's do one more. Now, what I started to say that I didn't finish my thought was, if you've already eaten and you had your protein, go ahead and release your arms, release your hands, and roll your shoulders. Then you're good to go. Me personally, it's too early. I've got to eat afterwards. If you wait past an hour, your body will start to break down. It doesn't have the fuel it needs. So have a protein shake, or eat a couple pieces of chicken, or eat a couple of eggs if you're eating eggs. Go ahead and put the weights down. I'm not eating eggs right now. They don't seem to agree with me very well. So my favorite thing to do now is I saute a bunch of chicken strips in some lemon and olive oil, and then they're just in the fridge. So after I'm done working out, I'm going to go eat my chicken strips. All right. So stand in neutral. We've already done chair. We're going to bend the knees and we're going to go into a squat. Okay? Super simple, nothing hard. And then come back up, and now we're going to go into a hinge. So soft knees and hinge about halfway down and up. So do that a couple times. Just get it in your body. Squat means all the joints are moving. Hinge means only one joint is moving. Hips. Okay? And squat. My husband, who prides himself on reading a lot and being updated and stuff, saw something, I don't know where it was, and rest. Now I want you to pick up your weights, like pick up regular weights. I'm going to use, I think I'll use my 6s. I'll be all right. And he saw something like, do this move and it will keep your hips healthy. You know how they have those kinds of things in like the New York Times and stuff. And it was a hinge. I was like, oh. I said, so you're doing a deadlift. Did it tell you to lift weights? And he goes, no. And then he read the article further down. He goes, oh yeah, it says to lift weights. That's cracking up. All right, so we're going to go from from squatting to hinging. Your arms are going to be at your sides, but I'm going to add them later. All right, so squat, up, and then hinge. When you're hinging, your weights will go straight to the floor, just like they do when you squat. So notice if you have a tendency to move your arms around. I just want you to focus on the legs. All right. And your weights, for me, I could probably lift a lot more, but I had done a heavy workout yesterday, so I'm not going to do that to my body. And squat. So you've got this in your body. You feel this. And then I want you to add weight here, or add movement. So squat is with a bicep curl. And hinge is going to push the weight behind you. Okay, so see if you can do that. Bicep curl here. Keep your arms by your side. Don't let them move. And hinge. And you'll feel the back of your arm kick in. If that feels too hard, just keep the weights down and let them come to the floor like we started with. Okay? Either way. Bicep. Up. Hinge. and up. One more time. Curl and sit. Up, shoulders on your back. Really feel that. And then up. Good. Roll the shoulders around and take a little baby step with your right foot. I want your weight in your right leg. So the left heel can come up. We're going to do the same thing now, not with arms, with legs. Okay, so leave your arms quiet. You're going to squat on this one leg, come back up, and now hinge on this one leg. And I want you to use your discernment here as to how low you can go. Because when you're in this kind of stance, you can usually go lower if your body feels okay. When you come all the way up, make sure your glutes are active. So this, if you're on your right foot, it's your right glute. So you squat once, and then you hinge once. Transitioning from two legs to one, and from movement to movement. How mindful are you being? Let's do one more here. And up, and hinge, and up. Good. Release it, and change legs. So my left leg's going to be my primary standing leg. My back foot is just lightly on the floor. I want to be careful about my shoulders on my back. And then from here, you're going to bend into your squat on your standing leg, and then come up, and then hinge with your standing leg. This leg's tired or more tired. Down and up. Now we do this kind of movement all day long. We don't realize we do it, but we bend down. Our legs are almost always in an asymmetrical position. And we either bend with a straight leg or we bend with a bent leg. And so this kind of action actually helps you get used to your body going, oh, I know what this is. And I could even pick something up that's kind of heavy because I'm holding weight and my whole body's participating. Let's do one more. And push and hinge and up. Good. Set your weights down and come to the top of your mat. Standing in mountain pose for a moment. Hands at the heart. Engage legs like you're squeezing that block. And then inhale, raise your arms all the way up, look up a little bit. Exhale, hands come down, fingers touch the floor. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, and step back now to downward facing dog. Letting yourself find a place of homeostasis or ease, bending knees, maybe even pedaling heels. And then as you feel ready, inhale, come forward into your plank pose. Really be cognizant of your shoulders, transitioning from something that feels kind of familiar and easy in dog to harder in plank. And then knees land on the floor. Go back to that extended child's pose, elbows down. And try to bring your elbows lined up with your shoulders and hands. The easy way is just let your elbows go out to the side. And you're allowing your hips to go back with your elbows to be slightly forward, so you get this nice stretch in the middle of your back. Head's in neutral. And you're just pausing here for a moment. You know you're back down into some kind of homeostasis when you are breathing through your nose. So just as a reminder, whenever you are breathing through your mouth, especially while you're out exercising or walking or whatever you're doing, you're working on your fight or flight nervous system. and the body feels a little bit of a threat, and it raises your cortisol, and it will not get rid of your belly fat. Just saying. So think about when you're breathing through your nose, it kicks off this more calm nervous system, even though you are exercising, and it helps keep everything in balance. All right, so come back to your tabletop position. We're going to go to the right leg and we're going to lift it up. We did this once already. Bend the knee so your foot's going to the ceiling. Your left hand's coming forward, palm to the sky. From here, I want you to lift your hand and lift your foot a little bit for cow pose, and then exhale, elbow or hand to your knee, curling into cat. Inhale, keep your knee bent. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, knee bent. Exhale. Now, this is optional. Inhale, knee bent. See if you can reach around and grab your foot. If you've got a hold of your foot or maybe your pant leg, left shoulder on your back body, elbow bent slightly, push your foot to the ceiling. Engage the legs. We're counteracting a lot of what we just did when we were standing. Release and come to center. Take a breath in the middle, readjust if you need to. Remember, you can be on your forearms, or you could even go on your blocks on your forearms. Left leg back, lift your left leg up and bend that leg. Foot to the ceiling, right arm palm up. And then as you exhale, knee, hand come together underneath you. Inhale, lift hand, lift foot. Exhale. And inhale. So your standing leg and standing arm are quiet. Holding this last one, see if you can reach around, grab your foot. Elbows slightly flexed. Push your foot into your hand, opening your right shoulder, right chest. Breathe. Good. Release and come to center and relax. All right, turn your toes under. Go back into your downward facing dog. Taking a moment there. Alrighty, and then make your way back up to the front of your mat. Finding that forward fold, let go of your head, let go of your shoulders. I like to move my head around a little bit. And then sitting hips back and down, bring your forearms to your legs. So we did this with the block, so I want you to remember, think about the block here. And then with your spine nice and long and your legs wherever you can go, bring your hands up so that you can lift your torso, but you're trying to keep the same shape in the legs. It can be hard. Hands are on your heart. Remember, you're in the whole foot, not just in the ball of your foot. Lift your pelvic floor, navel to spine. Elbows open, palms facing forward. Can you reach your arms over your head? Don't go in your neck. From here, inhale, come all the way to stand. And then exhale, pause. And shake everything out. Alrighty. So we're going to play a little bit. You may or may not want to play with me. So remember the hip hinging that we were doing? Do you guys have hard blocks or do you have soft, cushy blocks? Do you have like the foam blocks? I want you to have both of them. We're going to put them on the floor so that the wide end is together because I want you to step on it. We did this last week, but we worked on something else. All right, so this movement can use weight if you want to work a lot in your leg. This is going to be our final sort of leg action, or you don't have to use weight at all. All right, so I will show you with this weight, the turn. So I've got my foot on the middle of both blocks so that I know I'm not going to tip anything over. And I'm going to pick up my whatever weight I'm going to use. And I'm going to take that staggered stance behind me. We did this already. All right. So my front knee is loaded and ready. My front leg is loaded and ready. I'm going to take my hand and go down to the floor. See where I can go. Can you touch the floor while your foot's on the block? And then come up to stand and maybe push your weight over your head. That's an option. Down, touch, up. Notice how your back leg is bending also, but I want all of the work to be in your front leg. Now you could always do two hands, two weights, two arms. I'm not choosing to do that today. Push. So we're going into a much deeper action with our feet up on this block. Can you feel that in your legs? Yeah, no? I can feel it, but I did this yesterday, so. Up. All right, one more. And up. Okay, now bring your weight to your chest, keep it close to you, and push off so you're off this back foot. So now you're balancing. Only if you feel stable. I'm going to turn so you can see. So my foot can actually, my tippy toe can actually touch the floor. You're going to start to think about hinging. And if your blocks are too wobbly, then get rid of them for this part. And up. You can also just play with standing straight up. Notice how my leg and my angle of my head are in the same line. If you took a ruler from my head to my foot, it wouldn't change. We're only going to do one more. And if you're on the blocks, this is no joke. Down and up. Good. Release. So the block creates another dynamic, another level of intensity. And then, of course, you're moving. So that makes it even harder. Switch your legs, switch your hands. If you're using two hands, of course, keep them both engaged. Shoulders are on your back here. And while we're here, turn. So you're not standing all the way down on this leg, on this back leg. You've got your ball of the foot and you're pushing your weight forward into this front leg. I want it there on purpose. The back leg is weighted, but not very heavy. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to hit or squat down, see if you can touch the floor, and then come back up to your shoulder. Down, touch the floor, up to your shoulder. So I'm not straightening my leg all the way out. You might notice that too. And then if you want, arm overhead. Down, touch, up. So this is a hard movement. I want it to be hard on purpose. It's kind of your grand finale. Down. And this is what I was telling you. When you do exercises, you want to challenge yourself to really get fatigue, especially in the muscle that you're working. Okay, now stay here. Hand to your chest. Weight attached to you. The leg you're standing on the block is straight now. And you're going to start to play with this idea of hinging. Now you could leave your back foot on the floor if you don't want to work on balance. We're only doing 4 of these. And they're not easy. So don't try to overwork either. There's always that discernment. And now how are you doing with this transition? Are you staying very aware and not just trying to get through it? Because maybe you just need to take a break. We have one more. Whoop. My right leg's a little bit less stable. And then go ahead and release. Shake your legs out a little bit and set your weight down. Goodness gracious. All right, let's put the blocks out of the way. We're not going to need them. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, bring your arms up over your head, big stretch, look up. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. And then exhale, fold forward and find downward facing dog. And as you're here, this is your rest, so rest can be in child's pose also. I like downward facing dog because it helps us work symmetrically after doing all that asymmetrical work. From here, if you can, come forward into plank. Breathing is your friend. And then from here, knees can be up or down. I'm going to put mine down today. Elbows graze the body. You're going to come down onto the mat. Now, keeping your arms at about the level of your ribs, just take them out to the side, come up on your fingertips. Elbows are facing the ceiling. Can you feel your shoulder blades on your back? From here, you're going to exhale, belly button in, anchor down your feet, and float your fingers off the floor. So working on upper back strength, lower down. Do it again, exhale. Lift your fingers in one leg, keeping anchored in the pelvis, lower down. Exhale, belly first, then lift other leg, lower down. And now see if you can do both. Exhale, fingers and both legs. Okay, so wherever you are, you're going to do 4 more just like that. So if you're doing 1 leg at a time, just keep alternating. And if you're doing 2 legs, you got 2 more. Exhale, as you lift. And down, 1 more time. Exhale, and down. Good. Rest your head on your hands. Let go of your hips a little, let go of your glutes, and breathe. Alrighty. Turn your head the other way if you turned your head. I always just put my head down in a neutral position, but I know a lot of people like to turn their head. All right, we're going to push away from the floor, and we're going to come to a seated position. And I want you to have 1 weight with you. It can be a heavier or a light weight. We're going to work with core strength here. So your feet are in this, legs are in this bent-legged position. Hold on to your shins and lift yourself up so you're nice and straight. And then round back on purpose, like you're doing cat pose. And pull your heart up, lifting your eyes and rounding back. 1 more time. Now the balls of your feet might come off the floor. It doesn't matter to me. And down. Good. Now from here, can you grab your block? I said we weren't going to use them again, but I lied. I want you to have it between your legs again, like we did in the beginning. You're going to stay in this bent knee shape. Okay? And we're going to lean back. And I want you to find a place where you can still feel your sitting bones on the floor. Feels like you're lifting your body up. Yeah? Squeeze the block and take your hands away. Put them at your heart. And ask yourself, does this feel like, can I do this? Your feet can move further away from you if it feels really hard. The closer your feet are to you, the harder it is. So away from you is fine. Now pick up your weight, whatever you're using. And I want you to be in this shape, but we're going to lean back, turn, and see if you can touch the weight of your hands to the floor. Come back to center, lift up. Lean back, turn and touch your weight to the floor. Center, lift up. Keep squeezing the block, lean back, turn, center. See how I'm keeping the weight really close to me? I don't want to get it too far away. I'm just thinking about the end of the weight, or if you're not using a weight, the knuckles of your hands to touch the floor. And you're checking in with yourself how rotation feels in your right and left side. Like I can twist a lot easier to the right than I can to the left. I'm not rounding my back, so don't get confused with that. I'm just leaning back. Squeeze the block. That will help your hip flexors. And 1 more time each side. Sit up, lean back, touch, come to center, sit up, lean back. Now, if you want, stay in the lean back, keep your chest up, and lift your feet. Squeeze the block, squeeze the block, squeeze the block. Feet down, weight down, let go of your block. Let your legs go apart. So if you're like me, the inner thighs got super tired. Yeah, so remember, inner thighs are connected to core. So if you're trying to work on your core, especially lower back, and your inner thighs are mush, you need to work more on the inner thighs. Because otherwise there's a link missing. I want you to go ahead and lie down. So it's an interesting concept, right? Like, oh, the core is my body, the box of my body, yes, and. So letting your legs just drift right and left. So that we did this in the beginning. This nice, easy, yogis call it windshield wipers. And we're just allowing the legs to shift right and left. Coming into some, again, transitioning homeostasis. Are you breathing through your mouth or are you breathing through your nose? Alrighty. Now bring your legs up. Hold your ankles or your big toes and let your knees come open. So I want the bottoms of your feet to touch. I want you to roll off of your lower back. So you're resting more on your sacrum and your knees are moving away from you. Your arms are probably straight wherever you're holding. So this is supine Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose. Feet are touching each other. Now keep one leg bent and straighten out the other leg. Don't let go of whatever you're holding on to. So I've got a hold of my big toe, got my other leg bent, and there's a big stretch hopefully happening in that leg. And then bring that leg back in and stretch open the other one. Working in houses is challenging, right? Because there's always things in the way. Walls, furniture. Good, come back to center. And then allow the knees to come to middle. Give them a little hug. Give them a nice big pull here and then release down. All right, so we're going to work a little bit on core. We just did some seated work with the core, which was quite challenging actually. We're going to play a little bit here with stability. So rock and roll your pelvis 2, 3, 4 times. That'll feel good. And then find a neutral position where your lower back's got some space behind it. Ribs are in, hip bones are kind of drawing in. So you feel like this box of your right and left rib and your right and left hip bones actually getting a little bit smaller, like you used a little bit of a girdle idea to keep it in check. And then bring your knees up, touch your feet together, and take your arms out to the sides. You can put your palms down, doesn't matter. And I want your knees to be pretty much right over your hips. So if you bring them towards your body, you're going to press your lower back into the floor. From here, I want you to open your legs and close your legs. And then see if you can stretch your legs straight up without moving your spine. Bend your knees, open, close, stretch. One more time like that. Now, if you can stretch your legs straight and your back and your body stays quiet, then you can do the same thing with straight legs. Open, this time crisscross. Open and crisscross. Feet are flexed, open. You've still got that idea with the ribs and the hip bones kind of knitted together. Open. Now the next time you crisscross, stay there and then see if you can lower your legs toward the floor. I don't care if you go an inch or all the way down, and then come back up and open the legs, crisscross, go down. Now a little trick that I do is when I crisscross, I flex my feet and I try to imagine pulling them apart, and it engages more of the leg. And up, open,
Crisscross, we got last one. Down and up. Good, release your legs. Let them go side to side. And then we're gonna neutralize out that whole thing by holding onto your mat. Now I'm gonna give you two choices. You can hold on to the bottom, like I'm doing, and pull so that you get your shoulder blades wrapped underneath you. Or you can take your hands over your head and hold the corners of your mat and pull, and it'll do the same thing. This is a little harder with your arms up than with your arms down. So we're just going to keep our feet in neutral. I want you to pull and get your back body engaged and push through your feet to lift your hips. Now, once you're here, you might feel like, oh, my neck is coming down. That means your shoulders are not underneath you properly. And you're going to lower your hips down and lift them back up. And lower them down. Keep your arms engaged. They don't have to be 100%, but you do want to keep this action in the arms. Whether your arms are up or down doesn't matter. And as you come up, exhale, tapping just the floor. So we're trying to work the back body so that the body feels more balanced and stable. Let's do 3 more here. And down. And 2. And this time I just want you to stay up. Keep your arms going. Find your range, whatever you want to do. Now pretend you've got the block between your legs and try to squeeze. Can you find your lower abs? Can you feel what's going on in your body? And then as you exhale, release your arms, release your hips, come all the way down, pause. Ankle, right ankle over left knee. And then just a gentle stretch here, holding your shin or maybe your left thigh, flexing your top foot, and just be here with this nice stretch in your right hip. We did a lot of single leg standing work today, and so you might feel a little bit of an extra stretch right now. Exhale, foot to the floor. Grab a hold of your ankle and twist over to the left with your right arm open and on the floor. Hold your ankle, knee to the sky, breathing. Transitioning now from more of an active state to a calm state. So remember, breathe through your nose. As you inhale, come back up. Release your legs, stretch it all the way to the sky, maybe flex and point your foot a couple times. And then release your foot. Other leg crosses over. Bring your legs towards you, give them a little stretch. Find a place that you can hold comfortably where you're not straining. But you do feel a nice action in your left hip. I always find it so fascinating how they feel so different. And you're breathing, you're just sensing and feeling into this more calm energy now. Release your foot to the floor. Grab a hold of your now left ankle and twist to the right, expanding out your left arm. We just take a moment here to enjoy this final couple of stretches, knowing that all the activity is done. You made it all the way through. You said yes. Said yes to yourself today. Inhale, come back up. Stretch your leg up to the ceiling, maybe flex and point your feet. And then bring both knees to your chest. If you feel like it, you can pick your head up and bring your knees into a closed position. And then stretch your arms all the way out, legs all the way down. Really reach, expand. If it made you yawn, that's a good thing. And then let yourself relax. Arms come down, legs relax. You're always welcome to put something under your legs or under your head, or maybe put your legs up on something like a chair or a wall for your final relaxation. And when you've got yourself situated, take a nice deep breath. Let the exhale signal to your body that you are actually resting, still, transitioning from busy and active to still and quiet. Take a longer and deeper breath. And slowly starting to stretch and move, bringing yourself back to your body. And as you feel ready, you can bend your knees and roll to a side. Stay for a breath or two and then come up to sitting. Once you're seated, you can bring your hands to your heart, holding the practice and this intention of mindfulness around transitions, whether it be transitions of an active yoga class, transitions of the season, maybe life transitions.
And always in gratitude for our time together on the mat, our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.